During a dinner with her parents, my fiancé announced, "I'm dating someone else. I'm going to live with him, and we're having a baby." I then canceled the honeymoon, sent her the bill for half, and blocked her cards the next day. Okay, I have to tell you this because I still can't believe what happened. It was Sunday afternoon, and we were having dinner at Sarah's parents' house. My fiancé. A normal family dinner where she had invited me because we had to discuss the final wedding details. We had been together for 4 years, and our wedding was scheduled for December, barely 2 months away. Everything was ready. Everything was paid for. I should have seen the signs. During the last few weeks, Sarah had been strange, distant. Her phone always face down, forced smiles, excuses not to discuss the final wedding details. But I was so excited about our future that I interpreted her nervousness as normal pre-wedding anxiety. What an idiot I was. We met in college. She studied marketing, I studied engineering. It was love at first sight during a party on campus. Sarah was that girl everyone noticed when she walked into a room. Intelligent, funny, ambitious. Her parents accepted me from day one. Her mother always treated me like the son she never had, and her father said I was the perfect son-in-law for his princess. For 4 years, we built something I thought was solid. We moved in together after graduation. We bought furniture together, adopted a cat, talked about children, the house we would buy, growing old together. Everything seemed to fall perfectly into place. Wedding planning had been intense but exciting. I took care of most of the expenses because I earned more than her. The venue cost $8,000, the catering $6,000, the photographer $3,000, the flowers $1,000. The honeymoon in Italy had been my special gift to us. $4,500 for 2 weeks of planned perfection. In total, I had invested $23,000 in our future. We had also shared finances for the last year. Sarah had supplementary cards on my main accounts. It was easier that way, we said. A real couple shares everything. How naive that sounds now. That afternoon, her mother had prepared her famous roast with all the trimmings. Her father had opened a special bottle of wine he had been saving. The table was set with the good china, as she always did when I came to visit. We were a happy family, or so I thought. During dinner, everything seemed normal. We talked about work, the weather, plans for the holidays. Sarah participated in the conversation, but I noticed she was tense, playing with the food on her plate, something she never did. She had always had a good appetite. When her mother brought the dessert, her famous tiramisu, her father raised his glass to make a toast to us, to our wedding, to the future that awaited us. We all raised our glasses. Sarah raised hers, but didn't drink. That's when it happened. Her mother was asking about the final details of the ceremony when Sarah put her fork down on the plate with a metallic clang that resonated in the silence. She looked at the 3 of us with an expression I had never seen before. Cold, determined, almost cruel. "I'm dating someone else," she said without preamble. "I love him. I'm going to live with him, and we're having a baby." The world literally stopped. I felt as if time had frozen. Her mother's fork fell to the floor. Her father was left with his glass halfway to his lips. I couldn't process the words I had just heard. "What did you say?" I managed to whisper. "What you heard," she replied with a coldness that chilled me to the bone. "I've been seeing him for 6 months. I'm 3 months pregnant. It's his child, not yours. I'm moving in with him next week." I felt nauseous. The world started to spin. My hands were shaking so much that I had to grab the table to keep from falling out of my chair. 6 months. She had been living a lie for 6 months. All that time planning our wedding, buying rings, dreaming of our future, and she was pregnant by another man. Her mother began to cry silently. Her father looked as if he had received a physical blow. Sarah looked at the 3 of us as if we were strangers, as if she hadn't spent 4 years of her life with me and built a relationship with her own parents. "Who is he?" I asked, my voice cracking. "That doesn't matter now," she replied, picking up her purse. What matters is that I'm leaving. Tomorrow, I'll come for my things. And just like that, she got up from the table and walked towards the door. There were no apologies. There were no explanations. There were no tears on her part. Just the sound of her heels walking away and the door closing behind her. In her own parents' house. Her parents and I sat in silence for what seemed like hours. Her mother cried softly while her father comforted her. I was in shock, unable to fully process what had just happened. The woman I was going to marry in 2 months, the woman I thought I knew better than myself, had destroyed me in front of her own parents with the same ease with which she would comment on the weather. Her mother hugged me before I left. "Forgive me," she whispered. "We didn't know anything." Her father shook my hand with tears in his eyes. "You're like a son to us," he said. "This doesn't change anything between us." I didn't sleep that night. I stayed awake in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand how I had gotten to that point. All the money invested, all the plans, all the dreams destroyed in a single sentence. And all in front of her parents, who loved me like a son. But the more I thought, the clearer something became in my mind. Sarah had made her decision. She had chosen to destroy 4 years and $23,000 of our future without thinking twice. She had chosen to deceive me for 6 months while I planned our life together. And worst of all, she had chosen to humiliate me in front of her own parents. Now it was my turn to make decisions. At 6 a.m. Monday, when the sun was just beginning to rise, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I wasn't going to be emotional or vengeful. I was going to be completely rational and fair. Sarah was going to pay exactly half of everything we had lost because of her decision. The first thing I did was call my job to ask for the day off. My boss, who knew about the wedding situation, didn't ask any questions when I told him a family emergency had come up. Technically, I didn't lie. Then I took out all the wedding bills, contracts, and receipts. I spread them out on the dining room table like an accountant preparing taxes. Every expense, every deposit, every payment, everything was there in black and white. The venue cost $8,000. We had paid a 50% deposit for $1,000. According to the contract, if we canceled with less than 60 days' notice, we lost the entire deposit. I called immediately. "Good morning," I said to the event coordinator. "I need to cancel the wedding of December 15th under the name of Sarah Mishi." "Oh no," she replied with genuine sadness. "I'm so sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, due to the cancellation time, we cannot refund the $4,000 deposit." "I understand perfectly," I replied. "Please send me the cancellation confirmation by email." The catering was similar. $6,000 total, $3,000 paid in advance. 50% penalty for late cancellation. I lost another $3,000. The photographer was more understanding. $3,000 total, $1,500 paid. He told me he could refund $1,000, but he would have to keep $500 for the time already invested in planning. The flowers were a total disaster. Paid in full because they were specific flowers that had already been specially ordered. Zero refund. The honeymoon was the most painful to cancel. $4,500 for 2 weeks in Italy. Boutique hotels, private tours, romantic dinners, everything planned in detail. The travel agent explained the penalties to me. Hotels, $1,000 lost. Flights, $800 lost. Tours and experiences, $600 lost. Total losses, $2,400. When I finished all the calls, I took out my calculator. Total losses, $4,000 from the venue plus $3,000 from the catering plus $500 from the photographer plus $1,000 from the flowers plus $2,400 from the honeymoon. Total, $10,900 lost forever. Divided by 2, $5,450 that Sarah owed me. But I wasn't finished. Sarah had supplementary cards on my main accounts. For the last year, she had used these cards freely: food, gas, clothes, outings with friends. I had been generous, thinking that we were a real couple who shared everything. I logged into my online banking and reviewed all the statements for the last year. Every purchase by Sarah, every expense, every transaction was revealing and nauseating at the same time. Expensive meals at restaurants I didn't remember. Clothing purchases on days she was supposedly working. Gas charged in areas of the city where she had no reason to be. During the last 6 months, exactly when her affair began, her expenses had doubled. She had spent an additional $2,500 on my cards, money she had probably used to impress her lover. I added everything up. $5,450 from the wedding cancellations plus $2,500 in unauthorized charges on my cards. Total, $7,950 that Sarah owed me. At 10 a.m., I called the bank to cancel all the supplementary cards under her name. The process was surprisingly simple. I just needed to confirm my identity as the primary account holder. Afterwards, I created a detailed document. It wasn't an emotional letter or a spiteful message. It was a professional invoice. I listed every cancellation, every penalty, every unauthorized expense, all with dates, exact amounts, and clear explanations. The heading read, Invoice for wedding cancellation services and unauthorized expenses. At the end, I added, the total payment of $7,950 must be made within 30 days by bank transfer or certified check. Any delay in payment will result in corresponding legal action. I sent her the invoice via WhatsApp at 2 p.m., along with copies of all the cancellation confirmations, account statements, and receipts that supported every penny. The message was simple. Here is the real cost of your decision. Actions have consequences. You have 30 days to pay. Her reply came in less than 5 minutes. A barrage of furious messages. What? How dare you? You're crazy. I don't owe you anything. You offered to pay for the wedding voluntarily. I replied only once. The expenses were shared for a shared wedding. Your decision to cancel means that your share of the losses is your responsibility. The cards were canceled to prevent further unauthorized charges. After that, I muted her number. I wasn't going to get into emotional discussions. The numbers didn't lie. At 4 p.m., I received a call from an unknown number. It was Sarah, obviously using someone else's phone. I need to use the cards to buy food, she said desperately. The cards were canceled, I replied calmly. As I explained in my message, you no longer have access to my accounts. But I don't have any money, she yelled. You've just left me with nothing. You had 6 months to plan your new life while you were cheating on me, I replied. I assume you considered the financial implications of your decision. For the next few days, the messages and calls from unknown numbers didn't stop. Sarah had recruited her friends, some relatives, even coworkers, to contact me, all with the same story, that I was being cruel, that I was exaggerating, that I should be more understanding of her situation. My answer was always the same. Sarah made adult decisions that have adult consequences. The invoice reflects the real costs of those decisions. The best call was from her best friend, Jessica, who had been a bridesmaid in our canceled wedding. She's desperate, she told me. She can't pay rent this month. Her job doesn't give her enough money to live alone. Interesting, I replied. Perhaps she should have considered that before deciding to leave her fiancé, who paid most of the shared expenses. But she's pregnant, Jessica insisted. She needs support, not punishment. She's pregnant with another man's child, I reminded her. That man is the one who should support her now. I'm just collecting the real debts she left behind. That's when Jessica gave me the most interesting information. You know who he is, right? No, I replied, and honestly, I didn't care. It's her boss, Mark Williams. He's married and has 2 children. That information changed everything. Not only had Sarah been cheating on me, she had been cheating on me with a married man who was cheating on his own wife. The level of betrayal was even deeper than I had imagined. But there was something else. If Mark was her boss and he was married, her situation was much more complicated than I thought. A workplace romance, especially between a boss and employee, and especially when one of the two is married, rarely ends well for the employee. Sarah didn't know what was coming, but the universe wasn't done with her. Her story with Mark was about to get much more complicated, and I had a front row seat to watch it unfold. I didn't have to wait long to see how the drama unfolded. 3 weeks after sending the invoice, I received an unexpected call. It was Sarah's mother. "I need to talk to you," she said wearily. "Can you come over this afternoon?" I arrived at 6. Sarah's parents looked years older than the last time I had seen them. Her mother had been crying. Her father had that look of a defeated man that I recognized from my own mirror during the first few weeks. "Sarah's home," her mother explained. "Mark left her." Of course he left her, I thought, but I didn't say anything. Her father continued the story. Apparently, Mark's wife had discovered the affair. A private investigator had followed Mark for weeks and had photos, messages, complete evidence. The wife not only filed for divorce, but contacted human resources at the company where Sarah and Mark worked. Mark was transferred to another branch to avoid the scandal, her father explained. But Sarah was fired. Company policy on relationships between supervisors and subordinates. So Sarah had not only lost her lover, but also her job. And she was pregnant. And she owed me almost $8,000 that she clearly didn't have. "She's desperate," her mother continued. "She can't pay for the apartment she rented. She has no job. Mark ignores her calls. And you're charging her all that money." "Actions have consequences," I replied calmly. She knew she was risking her job by having an affair with her married boss. She knew she was risking our future. She knew she was risking her financial stability. She decided to do it anyway. Her father nodded slowly. "You're right," he admitted. "But she's our daughter. She's pregnant, and she has no one else." "She has you," I replied. "And she has to find a way to pay what she owes." That money didn't magically disappear. I lost it because of her decisions. "Would you accept a payment plan?" her mother asked desperately. I explained that she could pay $200 per month for 40 months if she gave me a written guarantee signed by a notary. It was not negotiable. The money was real, the losses were real, and the consequences had to be real too. They accepted. 2 days later, I received the notarized document. Sarah committed to paying $200 per month until the $7,950 was paid in full, plus 3% annual interest for the payment plan. If she missed more than 2 payments, the full amount would be due immediately, and I could take legal action. The first payment arrived on time. Exactly $200 transferred from her parents' account. Obviously, they were helping her. During the following months, my life began to improve dramatically. Without Sarah's expenses, my finances stabilized. Without her constant drama, my mental health improved. Without her lies, I could clearly see what kind of relationship we had really had. I started exercising regularly, took cooking classes, went out with friends I had neglected for years. I even started dating other women. I wasn't looking for anything serious, just rediscovering who I was without Sarah. After 4 months, I met Emma at a professional networking event. An engineer like me, but in software. Intelligent, independent, honest. Everything Sarah had pretended to be but never really was. Emma and I took things slowly. After 4 years of lies, I needed time to trust again. But every day with Emma confirmed that I had made the right decision with Sarah. This was a real woman with real values who respected relationships and promises. Meanwhile, Sarah's payments arrived every month. Some months from her account, others from her parents' account. Occasionally they arrived a day or 2 late, but they always arrived. It was a monthly reminder that actions really do have consequences. 6 months later, I received indirect news about Sarah. Jessica, her ex-best friend, contacted me to apologize for having defended her initially. "You were right about everything," she told me. "Sarah wasn't the person we thought she was." The pregnancy was very difficult. She had to move back in with her parents. She's working part-time in a clothing store because she can't find a job in marketing after what happened at her previous company. I wasn't happy about her suffering, but I didn't feel sorry for her either. Sarah had made her choices knowing the potential consequences. Now she was living with those consequences. The baby was born 8 months after our original encounter. A boy who obviously wasn't mine. Her parents sent me a photo, not to hurt me, but because they genuinely considered me family still. The baby looked like Mark, which confirmed the entire timeline. During the first year after the breakup, Sarah tried to contact me 3 times. Once on my birthday, sending a long message about how sorry she was for everything. Once at Christmas, saying she missed me. And once when the baby turned 6 months old, asking if we could talk. I didn't reply to any of those messages. There was nothing to talk about. She had made her decision, I had made mine, and we were both living with the consequences. A year and a half later, Emma and I moved in together. It was a natural decision, no pressure, no drama. Just 2 adults who had found something real and wanted to build on it. We split all expenses equally from day one. We had separate accounts and a joint account only for household expenses. I learned the importance of maintaining financial independence in a relationship. Sarah's payments continued to arrive religiously. After 2 years, she had paid $4,800 of the $7,950 she owed. She still had 3 years of payments left, but she was consistent. Her parents were clearly helping her, which was their decision as a family. Emma knew the whole story from the beginning. I showed her the documents. I explained every decision I had made. Her response was simple. "You did exactly the right thing." She made adult decisions and had to face adult consequences. The fact that her consequences were difficult is not your problem. That's the difference between a mature woman and a child. Emma understood personal responsibility. Sarah never did. At the end of the 2nd year, I received one last communication from Sarah. Not directly, but through her parents. They wanted to know if I would consider forgiving the remaining debt. Sarah had gotten a better job, she was trying to rebuild her life, and the monthly payments were limiting her financially. My answer was clear: a contract is a contract. Sarah signed a legal commitment to pay that debt. If her circumstances have improved, she can make larger payments to finish earlier, but the full debt must be paid. I never heard about canceling the debt again. Today, 3 years later, Emma and I are engaged. A real proposal in a real relationship with a real woman who respects commitments and understands that actions have consequences. Our wedding will be modest, paid in full in cash, no debts, no drama. Sarah still owes me approximately $3,000. The payments continue to arrive every month. They will probably continue to arrive for the next 2 years. Each payment is a reminder that I made the right decision. I didn't let someone destroy me financially and emotionally without consequences. I demanded respect and responsibility, and in the end, that led me to a much better life. For anyone going through something similar, don't let others make decisions that destroy you without facing the real consequences. Self-respect is worth more than being the nice guy who forgives everything. Sometimes justice is more important than compassion. And sometimes the best revenge is simply living well while others live with the consequences of their own decisions. 6 months later, Emma and I got married last month. It was a small, perfect ceremony. Her parents, my parents, close friends. No drama, no debts, no lies. Sarah made her last payment the week of our wedding. I don't know if it was a coincidence or if her parents found out and decided to end that part of their lives, but after 3.5 years, she finally paid the last $300. I received the last payment the same day we returned from our honeymoon. A real honeymoon with a real wife, paid in cash. Life has a curious way of coming full circle. What I learned from this whole experience is that self-respect is non-negotiable. When someone decides to betray you, lie to you, and destroy years of your life without remorse, you have no obligation to make things easy for them. Being compassionate doesn't mean becoming a doormat for others to walk all over you. Decisions have real costs, and whoever makes those decisions must be willing to pay those costs. Sarah chose to cheat, lie, and destroy our 4-year relationship. The financial and emotional consequences of those decisions were hers, not mine. In the end, demanding respect and responsibility not only protected me financially, but led me to a much better life with someone who truly values commitment and honesty. If you are going through something similar, remember, you teach others how to treat you.